One of the big questions is,
what is money?
For practical purposes, it exists in a series of heterogeneous databases, very different databases.
do you believe in crypto?
Digital currency may be an answer, but it is the highly speculative asset.
I do own Bitcoin.
There is no second best.
Hi folks, Tracy here, your host from the Crypto Curious podcast. Before we dive into this week's episode, a quick note. This one's special. It was recorded live at Aus Crypto Con in Sydney. The audio isn't quite up to our usual standards, but it was such a fantastic episode that we couldn't wait to share it with you. Don't worry, we'll be back to our normal quality next week. Today's episode is packed with the usual 20 minutes of crypto goodness. We kick off with our thoughts on the convention and some key highlights. Then we dive into the buzz around Trump's proposed Crypto Advisory Council and wrap up with some exciting predictions for where we think the top coins could land this cycle. Of course, we sprinkle in some short, sharp news bites to keep you updated. But wait, that's not all this week. For those who want more, stick around after the main episode. Craig took the mic to hit the conference floor and chatted with three industry big names. Mark Monfort from AusDeFi Association and NotCentralised, Sergej Kunz, co-founder of 1 Inch, and Kyle Stagoll, founder of Market Mastery. Craig captured some awesome insights that you won't want to miss. So without further ado, here's this week's live episode of the Crypto Curious. Welcome to the Crypto Curious podcast, your weekly crypto crash course. Each week, join us in the dynamic world of cryptocurrency as we cover everything from major news stories to short, sharp news bites. If you're new to the crypto world, we recommend going back to our early stories to give you a solid foundation to understand the crypto world. Tune in, laugh and learn. It's crypto made easy. So today is a very special episode because we're coming to you live from Aus Crypto Con. It's been amazing to be surrounded here by all the crypto natives and new people coming through, as the buzz in crypto at the moment is amazing. Obviously, all-time high for Bitcoin and some of the other coins, Solana. So let's crack into it and talk about what's going on here at Aus Crypto Con.
Yeah, so this is now the third year in the crypto convention history. And I think this year is, if I were to sum it up, I'd say it's the stayers. It's the ones that have stuck through the bear market and now reaping the rewards. Bitcoin's obviously almost 100K. Solana hit all-time highs. 2 years ago when it started, there was a lot of questionable stalls. I remember there was one called ZooCoin, which was meant to be the future of finance, but they're no longer around, or they no longer have a stall, I should say. But this year, it's awesome to see all of you guys come in asking us questions on the Bamboo stall, and good to see the Monochrome flexing their wealth yet again. Brought a couple of Lambos. But yeah, it's been awesome. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, definitely there's a shift in energy compared to last year. Everyone last year was a little bit depressed, looking at their portfolios, going around and speaking to all the businesses that they use on a daily and weekly basis. But this year, definitely there's some fresh energy. It's great to see so many new faces of people coming into the ecosystem, asking really important questions and learning and finding out more about the ecosystem. So yeah, it's been a really great weekend and can't wait to.
Yeah, look, I think next year they've just announced it's going to be back here in Sydney again. So that's good to know. I think 2 years ago, Craig and I were in the Gold Coast. The last year was in Melbourne. I think there's been a real shift in people coming along. Show of hands who's actually brand new to the crypto market. Okay. Who would say that they are an intermediate? Okay. And maybe that was 15%. Who's an OG native? Okay, so half of you didn't put your hand up there. So what's going on there? What I'm finding at our Bamboo stand is that the people that are OGs coming through are bringing maybe some new people through the space with them this year. And it's been really engaging. We've had some really great conversations and it's been a really good show. Agree?
For sure.
I agree. I think one of the main contentious points of this convention that's brought up a few times is the role of meme coins. I think now, I just did a meme coin talk before around, should you get meme coins? Should you not get meme coins? The whole panel said that you shouldn't, but all three of us, we do. And put your hand up if you have meme coins in your portfolio. He's got double hand. Here we go. So there's obviously a space for meme coins in the market, but I'd love to get you two. What do you guys think about meme coins? And do you recommend it to beginners or not?
Like anything, a very, very small percentage of your portfolio
That's right. Meme coins are very much like gambling. However, they do signify something quite interesting where people can start now betting on cultural memes. Now, we've all seen Pepe, we've all seen Dogecoin. They foster communities and people invest in these communities and feel part of these communities. And it's a phenomenon that we haven't really seen like this previously, which is quite unique. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this evolves. We see now millions of meme coins being minted, many of them are scams, so you have to be incredibly careful. However, they do talk to people not wanting to invest in traditional markets and invest in an internet and a meme culture in a new way.
Yeah, exactly. Again, a very small percentage of your portfolio, but again, something that you can look at. I think we'll move on now and give you a couple of big news stories that have happened this week. And then we might talk about some predictions in the market where we think some of the major coins will go. And then we give you some short, sharp news bites. And that, again, follows how we do these podcasts each week for those of you out there that don't realise. So let's move on now to one of the biggest stories that's made headlines this last week. And it's President-elect Donald Trump has promised to establish a crypto advisory council as part of his administration, sparking a scramble amongst industry leaders for a seat at this table. The council is expected to shape US crypto policy and even oversee the creation of the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, if that happens. Craig, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think it's just crazy to see the government take a huge 180 from, all the bureaucrats making the decisions 12 months ago where they wanted to stifle the industry. And now we have Trump, and I'm a massive Trump guy, by the way, I must preface that. And what I like about this style is that he's bringing in people who know their shit. They're in the right rooms. They've got Brian Armstrong. He's talking to Charles Hosky. He's got guys like A16Z. And I think this industry is at a really huge inflection point. Trump has now got a DeFi app, and now he's trying to buy a crypto exchange called Back. So this is just, market conditions are just insane. Overall, feeling very positive. Around 12 months ago, we could probably talk from experience. Bamboo have been trying to launch in the US for maybe a year or so. Impossible to get banking. No one wants to work with a crypto company. But now, these things are definitely a reality. It's a much more favorable regulatory outcome. And I think being investors and maybe working in the industry it's amazing to see them lead the way.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. I think that's really important. What's really changed here is that the SEC, which is the biggest regulator for crypto in the US, has taken a position of pursuing companies and not setting clear guidelines for the industry to flourish. And now, with the change of administration, the chairman of the SEC, which is similar to ASIC here in Australia, is resigned, who's been notoriously not great for crypto. And now they're bringing in potentially a council and going to be buying Bitcoin to put on their balance sheet, which is an incredible step and potentially set the scene for a domino effect where not just the US, but other nation states need to purchase Bitcoin and put it on their balance sheet in order to remain competitive in a global landscape. And this would really change the crypto ecosystem as we know it.
I saw the Pizzino boys yesterday talk about the strategic reserve plan. They reckon it was 0% chance, but the narrative itself is something that could send Bitcoin into the 150 into 200K price target, let's just say. What do you think about that, Tracy? Think there's a chance it's going to happen?
I personally don't see it happening either, but we're still hopeful and we'll see. But as far as this council goes, we've got companies like Coinbase and Ripple and A16Z all vying for a position on that. And I think the council will probably happen. And I'm not too sure about the reserve.
Just on that, Coinbase itself has positioned, they've got the retail market, they're putting the ETF brokerage flow through their institutional product, and now they're going to be sitting on a government board potentially. So turns out to be a power company, Coinbase.
All right, let's shift gears because I'm mindful of time. I want to talk about some predictions. Everyone loves a prediction. Obviously not financial advice, just having a little bit of fun. Let's talk about where we think Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, maybe Doge will go as far as topping out at the end of the cycle. Let's start off with everyone. Give us a prediction. Where do we think Bitcoin will top out this market cycle? Let's go with you, Trill.
Well, I think there's really some key factors to consider here. If the US Treasury does buy Bitcoin to put on their balance sheet, it creates a completely new landscape for us. And I think that no one can really predict what's going to happen then. But if we're just going off advice that is just a rumor, it might happen not in this cycle, but in another cycle, I think the returns are going to be a lot more conservative. However, I think for those that don't know, in the crypto ecosystem, we see diminishing returns every cycle on our returns. And what that means is that as crypto gets bigger, the crazy returns that we've seen in its earlier days are a little bit harder to achieve, particularly from the blue chip crypto coins like Bitcoin. So yeah, hopefully higher than here, but I'm not sure too high. I'm happy with that.
Great, you'll give us a number. He loves it.
Look, I think, as we said before, the strategic reserve narrative could be something that could send Bitcoin to maybe 150 I might say USD. It's already 150 Aussie today, so we're surely not topping today. Although it would be a top signal to have this conference on the day of the top. But I do think Bitcoin, especially the digital gold narrative, the ETFs, we're talking about the US, but maybe another nation state might adopt Bitcoin. We've already seen it with Venezuela, I think it is. They're sitting on a pretty fat bag. Sailor just keeps buying Bitcoin. He's raising more money to buy it. So someone like Sailor could, just the confidence that he's displaying and him getting in the right rooms could be something that could send Bitcoin to, maybe 150. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking around that 120, 130 for Bitcoin. Again, could go 200 if the reserve happens, but I'm not confident on that. Happy to put a number on it. Okay, Ethereum.
Well, Ethereum's an interesting one. Obviously, Ethereum over the past 12 months has solved the scaling issue and the cost issue that we had in the last cycle. It used to be very expensive and clunky to use Ethereum, but that's changed now. However, the price hasn't reflected the change in the fundamentals of Ethereum. And that's primarily because the layer twos are sucking up a lot of the revenue that Ethereum used to receive. But I think that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin from here on out. I'm not sure by how much, but Ethereum's market cap is a third of Bitcoin's? And it gives it the opportunity to be able to outperform it in percentage terms between now and the end of the cycle. And it's usually Bitcoin that leads our market cycle. So the other smaller coins or the altcoins often follow it as people rotate their profits out of Bitcoin into other assets.
Your darling Ethereum, Craig, what are you thinking?
Yeah, look, I think Ethereum now, we've seen Solana outperform it. It's got the casino that we all know and love, meme coins. It's an instant dopamine hit. Ethereum does not have that this cycle. But what Ethereum does have is 100% uptake. It's the home of real-world assets on-chain, decentralized finance on-chain. When BlackRock and these guys are building funds, they're going to build it on Ethereum. Sui's outperformed as well. Sui was down for an hour the other day. I think anything with meaningful size, Ethereum as a layer one is the best that we can get. It's the only altcoin that has an ETF. I think it's $1 trillion asset. How do you price something that can underpin decentralized banking, all these things that I'm talking about? So I think $1 trillion asset, $8,000 US for one Ethereum token. What do you think, Trey?
Boom, 8 to 10. I think I agree with you there. Okay, we probably don't have time for, maybe we'll just really quickly, we'll do don't.
Yeah, I think early on in the market cycle, we started discussing the idea of whether there could be $100 billion meme coin. And as of late, now Dogecoin is sitting at 67 billion US dollars. So it's really not that far. Dogecoin has performed incredibly well over the past several months now that Elon Musk has come out and is naming his new government authority after the coin. I think that we will see this cycle. I'm not sure what price puts Dogecoin up, but we could see more than one coin hit the $100 billion mark, which is just an interesting phenomena in itself.
Nice.
Look, Solana's been an unbelievable 10. It hurts me every time I look at it because I do not have any. But I think Solana, it's the greatest party ever thrown. But I think the lights are about to come on. That's not to say that the kick-ons are going to be good. The kick-ons will be good. But I think it's at its end. It's the last section of the party. I think it tops out at around $400-$500. And it's going to be all about Ethereum, baby.
Okay, there you go. Some predictions for you, not financial advice, obviously. Right, folks, we're going to kick on now. And this normally would be part of the show where we take a break and we come back and we do our short, sharp news bite. And what we normally do here is roll on to maybe 6 to 12 really short, sharp news bites that we picked up that we think is interesting. So we're going to do that. What we normally do is I write them in order and then we would go one by one and read them. But what happens is Craig just cherry picks his favourites and reads them out. So I'm going to cherry pick my favourite in here. And it's a meme coin story. So if anyone's keeping up with it this week, a teenager wrote a meme coin on Twitter. This was hilarious. So a teenager crypto developer sparked chaos by rug pulling a Solana meme coin called Kunz, cashing out 30,000 as the token price crashed. We celebrated on a live stream, flipping off viewers and shouting, "Thanks for the 20 bandos." So crypto Twitter didn't like this and didn't let it slide. And within hours, the token's market cap soared to 85 million in a viral revenge pump fueled by these degens and turned the scandal into a major spectacle. So the team would have made something like, I don't know, 3 or 4 million, and it was a major drama. They apparently found out which school we went to. So this is kind of the drama that happens on the pump fund. Now, I think it's 10 years old. You can find the video. Actually, we'll put the video list in the show notes below so you can have a look at Sprite playing.
All right. So the next story is about Michael Saylor. For those who haven't been following the Michael Saylor story, last week he bought another $4.2 billion of Bitcoin, and he is one of the best performing stocks on the NASDAQ at the moment. And this week he's raising another $2.6 billion to buy more Bitcoin. He's recently set in motion a plan to buy $42 billion of Bitcoin over the next 3 years. And of course, if Bitcoin performs well in that time, it'll give him the opportunity to re-leverage and buy more Bitcoin. So it's incredible to see what's happening here. As Bitcoin goes up in price, MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor are able to borrow more money in the billions and tens of billions of dollars to continue to reinvest, which becomes a perpetual cycle, which is very interesting. And like we were talking about earlier, I think Ethereum needs a Michael Saylor.
Next one, we touched it before, but the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, has resigned, which is great news for everyone. His last day will be on January 20th, which is Trump's inauguration date. And now this has to be one of the most hotly anticipated roles that Trump will fill. And I assume he will use his new crypto council to help decide that, even though it's a securities position, I'm not quite sure. But some of the people that have brought up is Robinhood's legal chief, Dan Gallagher. As you know, Robinhood does have crypto on the platform. So if this appointment has the ability to move markets, so I'd take a quick, when do you think he'll announce it?
Sometime before the 20th.
Before the 20th? Or on the 20th?
Maybe after, maybe, yeah.
All right, next up, a CEO of crypto exchange WonderFi in Canada a few weeks ago was kidnapped in broad daylight in traffic, and it was held for a $1 million ransom, which was paid electronically.
I can speak to this one as well. I spoke to this guy a couple months back. His name is Dean. He runs 3 crypto exchanges in Canada. And, you know, this is something that we might not expect in the West in Canada, but maybe somewhere else. But just shows how dangerous and how frothy the ecosystem is going. And, you know, the security precautions that people are going to have to start taking, particularly as this asset class fulfills its vision. Yeah.
We need to look after our CEOs.
All right. I have a quick story here. Goldman Sachs, one of the world's largest investment banks, has said that they're going to spin out a cryptocurrency exchange. Now, this is really important because, you know, these are the infrastructure providers for the settlement and the trading of equities and shares. And they're obviously, cryptocurrency is going to be a massive growth area for their business in the coming years as the regulation changes and the administration in the US changes. So these guys are building up the infrastructure to be able to capitalize on that. And we're just going to see more and more of this. Investment banks building their own products instead of crypto native platforms like we see here today.
And to round us out, who got on the Chill Guy meme token? Who bought that? Oi! Yeah, LP. Oh, wow. We're in some degen territory there. Chill Guy is the newest TikTok meme. It's quite a friendly looking pooch, and he's just chilling there with just a chill guy. It went from $0 to over $500 million market cap. These TikTok traders have outperformed all of us, some of them turning $1,000 into over $1 million. And the artist, Philip Banks, is not embracing that at all. He's claiming copyright infringement. So he's not happy about it because he missed out on the pump. But just goes to show that something so little can send things to Valhalla.
There you go. And that is it for the show, folks. And thank you, everybody, for being here live with it. And we are pretty much out of time and we don't have time for questions, but thank you for being here. And if you're not a listener to the Crypto Curious podcast, please do so. #1 crypto podcast in Australia.
wherever you listen to your podcast, they can listen to it. We try and keep it quick, 20 minutes, so it's nice and palatable, bring it into the week. Again, thank you for listening. We appreciate
Thank you, guys. Bye, guys.
One of the big questions is
What is money?
Practical purposes, it exists in a series of heterogeneous databases, very different databases.
do you believe in crypto?
Digital currency may be an answer, but it is the highly speculative asset.
I do own Bitcoin.
There is no second best.
G'day guys, Craig here. We are at the crypto convention doing some live podcasting here with Mark from NotCentralised. How are you, mate?
Pretty good. I was expecting to have a camera, so I don't know where to look at right now. I'm looking.
You can look at Blake.
I am looking at Blake. He in all his magnificence. Craig, I love you, but like it's all about Blake. So
Now, this is the third year of the podcast. You've
Yeah.
been here all 3 years. How have
Yeah.
you found this third year compared to the other one?
oh well, they got the timing right this time by having it at where we're at all-time
Yeah,
highs.
exactly.
I think all conferences should just do that. Whatever industry you're in, just have it at your industry's all-time highs. Really. So
Easy.
a lot of vibes. Just have that prediction mark. Get poly markets to predict when your market is going to be at an all-time high, whether you're in health or accounting or education or whatever. But no, it's been really a lot of vibes. People are pumping, people are excited, and there's a lot of excitement. Like if you look at the different things that have been the talks, the ones about investing have been the ones where most people have gone to. So you could see where the retail market really is looking at.
And what do you think the big themes will be for next year, 2025? Obviously, this year was all
Yeah.
about the ETFs, all about the halving,
Yeah.
all about the Solana meme coins. What do you think will be the main drivers next year?
I reckon it's going to be AI.
Oh, well, here we go. A bit of alpha on the podcast.
It's going to be AI because it's like, what are the projects that A, are actually using AI to make their stuff more efficient,
Yep.
or B, are doing, because people don't realize this, working in the AI space as we do, because I work in blockchain and AI, people in the AI space don't realize just how much blockchain is going to help them. So any blockchain project,
How would it help them exactly?
so for example, security. So one of the things that we do is where there is a need to prove humans in the loop, we're doing stuff where you record that onto a blockchain so it's immutable, but also when it comes to like the need that governments are going to have to share data with for a compliance kind of purpose, if you use blockchain, you can do zero knowledge proofs. And zero knowledge proofs mean that you don't have to share everything. Like look at a license, instead of having to share everything about a license, you can share only the things that are necessary. So I believe that like blockchain for security and for various other things like being able to make micro payments and stuff is going to be so much better for AI.
Can you give me a best layman's term example of zero knowledge proof?
Great. Yeah. I mean, one that's typically spoken about is the licenses, but let's talk about passports, for example.
Oh, yes.
So in the case of passports, instead of like having to go, and sure, they've got to look at all your data, but there's some places where you need to have or show a passport for KYC.
Yeah.
But all they need to know, they don't need to see all that data or keep all the data. This is where the hacks and stuff come from. All our data is just going around and floating around. We can do things with zero knowledge proofs where we only share either certain things, what they call selective disclosure, like, you know, it's Craig, he was born on this date, he's got a valid passport. Exactly. So we can do stuff like that, or we can just do a simple true false. So without data even moving, it simply says true that you qualify for the certain things.
Yeah.
So that is what zero knowledge proofs is if we boil it down.
I think we've seen Argentina actually do this with their digital license, which
Yeah.
of all places, Argentina are the front wedders. Okay, cool. So how can, we're talking about these really interesting technologies. The first thing that I think of, yeah, it's great, but how can I make money from this? Like what sort of crypto project is really driving this innovation?
There's a lot of projects that are doing, so if I think about innovation, one piece of innovation is not just like the tech side of things, they're doing fancy things with the tech, but all that stuff would not work unless it's actually doing something in the real world. And a great group that I think is doing stuff in the real world, and I am biased as we're doing stuff with them, is called Red Belly Network. And they just spoke on stage before. They're about to launch a token. So they're an Australian ALFA. They're an Australian blockchain that is from the University of Sydney. It is a KYC blockchain. And what that means is a lot of businesses will not use Ethereum and Solana and stuff because they don't know who all the other players are. But like Red Belly, it's KYC, so people are known. So that everyone that participates is known, but we get to take advantage of blockchain. So this is like how you red pill the traditional businesses. And if you don't do the traditional businesses, we're not going to get the mainstream uptake that we all want. Because if there's mainstream uptake, we're going to get a whole lot more people interested in investing in crypto, and it just pumps everyone. So we need more of that like real world asset tokenization, real world businesses using blockchain rails of payments. All of that kind of stuff, I think that's the real key. So definitely look out for Red Belly just because, hey, why not? I'm grown.
I'm grown, baby. Awesome, man. What sort of conversations do you think we'll be having? I know it's probably a similar question, but in terms of the retail side, obviously now we're talking about meme coins, whether you add, we're talking about Trump's strategic reserve, we're talking about the new administration. And last year was really about gaming, I thought. We had a lot of gaming protocols. We only got one this year. With Illuvium a few years ago, actually, you could go and play the game. Put your forward thinking hat on. Which ones can you think we'll be seeing next year? Which ones do you think will be popping up?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, look, I just came out of a talk where Raoul Pal and Jamie from Real Vision were there. I saw that too, where his stories were that every time he tried to outsmart the market and like tried to trade around it and do things, he like when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum, he just got slammed from it. He should have just bought and held. So his thing was like, just buy and hold, because like rather than trying to outsmart the market, just holding it, being part of this wave, it's still early. If you think about it, there's also something, and so I'm saying like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, the main ones. But if you think about it as well, there is so many fund managers that are yet to put even just 2% of their funds into crypto. If we've got a global 3 trillion in assets under management or whatever it is, and just 2% of that goes in, that's $150 billion that is waiting to actually be put into the market. So I would say what people are looking for, either you find, here's the thing, if you don't know what to find because you don't have time, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Solana even, because that's got a lot of weight to it. If you are going to do the research, don't just like go around and do research like we used to yesterday, which is Googling and like going to conferences. Yeah, do all that, but also use AI because it can fast track how you learn about these things. It can break down barriers. For new people that don't understand the concepts, AI massively helps.
Great. Love it. Well, Mark, that's it. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Who's the top dog at 1inch here? G'day guys, we're joined by Sergej, the co-founder of 1inch. So 1inch is a decentralized exchange, would you say?
Not just decentralized exchange or just aggregator. We are the best trading venue for any token to any token cross-chain.
And I must say, one of the coolest brandings in crypto. You see now you're spruiking a Bruce Lee, take your crypto seriously. Tell me about this.
Yes, so the name 1inch came originally from Bruce Lee 1inch Punch.
Oh yeah?
It was actually just a fun idea on a hackathon back in 2019 in May in New York City. It was a huge global hackathon. So we were like thinking, okay, what we should build over this hackathon. We were traveling. It was time for us. Like we traveled almost every month, sometimes 2 times a month to another place, another city, another country to build something on blockchain. So, and we kept the idea, why no one combined all the liquidity sources into a single one? And we did it by using algorithm and specific protocol. So nowadays, we're doing much more. We have also non-custody wallet and other things. And we thought like we invented something what is highly efficient for the user with great user experience. We thought to call it maybe 1inch, like 1inch punch, we're doing it on blockchain,
Yeah, love it. So essentially, if you have $10,000 on chain, you go to 1inch punch, the best price, best spreads, and it helps you save money, doesn't it?
So the thing is, the liquidity is fragmented, a lot of, not just in DeFi, also in crypto generally. So you have all these centralized exchanges with all liquidity, with market makers who fill the order books. So we addressed this problem. Released yesterday, fully production, cross-chain swaps. So you can swap inside of the chain, or you can also even do cross-chain swaps. And we're addressing right now also to go for Bitcoin, for Solana. So we offer to buy Bitcoin for any token or sell Bitcoin for any token on any network. So we will support. We are already on 8 networks, including some layer 2s, and they are pushing it forward. And back to the story, to the Bruce Lee story. So the original name came from Bruce Lee 1inch Punch. And we thought it would be funny to make a collaboration with Bruce Lee family. We worked 3 years on that, and we got Shannon Lee coming to Hong Kong.
Oh, is that his daughter?
Yeah, he has a daughter. So Shannon Lee, she came also with her own daughter. So 2 generations already came to our event. We announced publicly that we do a collaboration, and our message is take crypto seriously.
Yes, I love that.
Because Bruce Lee did everything like a pro, and she was a pro. Yeah. She was martial arts master. She was superstar, and she was also a philosopher, She had really did talks about how you should find yourself and why you should find your own way to do something, to be successful, and that you have also adapt the whole life. Whole life you face problems. It's in the life, it's also in business. And problems are very normal. To solve problems means also to live the life, right? Yeah. So if you put water in the cup, it became a cup. So you need to adapt always, in your life.
Yeah, One Inch was born in DeFi summer 2020. Heaps of innovation. We had 1 Inch. Maybe Aave was a bit earlier.
You were born in 2019, so you were actually before.
Yeah, of course. But the DeFi summer I'm talking about when all these projects went crazy. What do you think around DeFi? Will it ever come back to what we saw? Even Uniswap's down 80%, all these great tokens with great use case, great numbers, users going up, revenue going up. Where do you think we'll see some kind of DeFi renaissance next year?
Actually, DeFi is much more active than in the DeFi summer. If you look at the volumes, so
We have that token prices.
of course, you have seen pumps on the different tokens, dumps, and people lose a lot of money. And now you see less companies who started in DeFi summer and still now. It shows us that these topics were just hypes, and only those who were highly seriously approaching this space, like Uniswap, us, 0x, other people, like Match as well, like from 0x. So yeah, it's normal. It's normal. There are hypes, there are waves, and people try to make money out of it. We are looking at it from the perspective, we have technology. We have built technology, we improved the entire space, and we try to onboard the traditional finance to the Web3. If you look at the volumes, we are good. We are very good. We are getting closer to centralized exchanges, and also are short before to jump in the traditional world. Traditional tokenized real world assets trading, it's also one of the things what we are right now prioritizing on the 1 Inch side.
Awesome. Now, obviously, this year was all about ETFs, government adoption. We've got Trump now, he's won. Meme coins has been a big topic for this year. What do you think this time next year when we're hanging out back in Sydney, what conversations and what themes do you think will be the theme of 2025?
So we see that the Bitcoin price is growing a lot, but if you look on the numbers of the volumes, you will understand that maybe that actually institutionals are right now buying Bitcoin. So retail is not yet there. So I think it's gonna go really crazy next year. So as soon as retail joins this run, technologically, I would say we would go more cross-chain because we see every day someone launch on layer 2 and on layer 1, and we need kind of solution what works between the chains. That's why we also address the cross-chain swaps and non-custody manner. So non-custody approach of swaps, we are a user, don't need to trust anyone, don't need to deposit someone and who can gamble with the funds like FTX did. I think more intent-based protocols. So user don't take care of how it's gonna be executed. They just declare, okay, I want to exchange one asset against another. And it's just happening. This is kind of the ways what I see. Intent-based, cross-chain, and more in tokenized real-world assets as well.
Awesome. All right, mate. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you. Thank you. No, thanks for that, man. Really appreciate it. That was awesome. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you. G'day, guys. We're now joined by Stagoll, also known as Dax. What's your Instagram again?
It's Stagoll.
Stagoll. So follow it. There's really good reels. So we're here at the crypto convention. We saw your talk. How did it go?
Yeah, awesome, mate. I got a lot of good feedback from it. Just tried to break it up a little bit because, it can be a bit dry here. So I wanted to have a little bit of a story and a narrative there to just encourage the guys to study hard. And basically the opportunity that people have for the next 12 months, anyone can realistically set themselves up for the rest of their life if they do well in the next 12 months.
And do you want to talk about I know you're much more active than maybe other investors are. Do you want to talk about your strategy in the crypto markets? How do you get the most out of the market?
Yeah, so we use what's called a long-term VWAP strategy. It sort of piggybacks off the back of Wall Street traders, So typically guys working in hedge funds and stuff like that, they would use VWAP to average in and out of trades for their clients because it's just like a risk-free way for them. If the client just be like, oh, you got me a bad price. Like, well, no, we got you in a VWAP. So that's just the average, right? So basically what we do is we try to identify when you get key candlestick patterns or confluence with something else at a key VWAP level. We use a system called a long-term VWAP. It's an aggregated system, so it actually takes the data from every exchange. Most VWAP systems don't do that. It'll just give you from the exchange and the charts following. And so it gives you the wrong levels. You need to do it properly. You need a proper aggregated VWAP system, which gets the information from every single exchange and aggregates it into your chart.
Yeah, well, we're in the weeds here. Let's bring it back to maybe thematic things. Like obviously the themes of this year was halving, ETFs launched, Solana meme coins. Now it's sort of Trump and what's going to happen with that. When we sit down next year, What themes do you think would have came up in the next 12 months when we have this discussion next year?
Yeah, well, next year, it's all going to be about, obviously, the tariff side. How bad is the tariff war going to affect, the rest of the market? Is it going to increase unemployment and stuff like that? So, there's still like that battle between inflation and unemployment. And is the Fed going to end up putting on QE? How fast are they going to be taking down interest rates? And then, obviously, the big one is going to be how much Bitcoin is the US government going to be buying each year. So, the plan for the bill that Cynthia Lumen's put through is 200,000 Bitcoin per year for 5 years. And so this is something I've been talking about with a lot of the people here the last few days, is like, how do you have a bear market with 80, 90% pullback on Bitcoin if the US government's going to be buying 200,000 Bitcoin that year?
Just on that, went to the Pizzino Boys, which are very good YouTubers, guys. If you haven't seen them, check them out. The Pizzino Brothers. They say 0% chance of a Bitcoin reserve, although this buying pattern that we're talking of. But what they do say is it's actually better because the narrative itself of it happening is going to send Bitcoin to obviously higher highs. What do you think about that?
And why do they think 0% chance?
They just think in the next 4 years, it's a very slim chance of it happening or close to 0%.
Yeah, I think that's...
You're more bullish than that. You're more bullish than that.
0% chance that they're going to get their strategic reserves.
Yeah, that's what they said.
I think that's... all I'm going to say is follow people that have good results, right? Anyway, if you follow people, you're going to make sure you're following the right people, is all I'm going to say to that. But think about it like this. They have a gold strategic reserve. They own 40% of the world's gold. It's very obvious that Russia, China, the rest of the BRICS economy, they're setting up Bitcoin miners and they're going to start trading in Bitcoin instead of using the US dollar. So international trade is starting to move towards Bitcoin. It's only going to grow more and more over the time. US actually desperately needs a Bitcoin reserve immediately. And the people that are in power are all massively invested into Bitcoin. Donald Trump is trying to buy back at the moment off Intercontinental Exchange, which, they own the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, right? So he's trying to buy back off them. Why do you if they weren't going to push it through, they have the House and they have the Senate, so they can do whatever they want.
For 2 years.
For 2 years. They can do whatever they want for 2 years, as if they're not going to get it through. So Trump is massive on Bitcoin, obviously, because he's trying to buy it back. And he has a whole heap of Ethereum.
He's a DeFi founder.
He's a DeFi founder now as well, right? So he's going to have 2 massive crypto companies. Elon Musk, obviously, we all know, who's basically the vice president, let's be honest. Pretty much, he's the VP. JD Vance is big on crypto. He's a massive crypto degen. Robert Kennedy Jr. wanted them to buy 40% of the Bitcoin supply. Not just 1 million coins. He wanted to buy 5 million Bitcoin so that they had 40% of the supply, right? So all the top people in the US government now are pushing for Bitcoin reserve. All the most important people in the government now.
I want to talk to you about the ugly duckling, Ethereum. What's happening? Where do you see it in 2025?
I'm pretty anti.
I know you like it. It irks me. It's the one thing I don't like about you, Doug.
And yeah, I think it's pretty obvious now on the charts that that call was correct. That a lot of our members all rotated out of Ethereum into Solana at the start of the cycle, and they've all been thanking me for it. And the few that didn't are all constantly saying in the group, I should have fucking listened to the DAX and got rid of my Ethereum.
Do you think trade goes the other way eventually, or do you think just think Ethereum?
Ethereum will catch up eventually, but I think this cycle it's going to struggle. And it's because, let's be honest, Ethereum just doesn't work. Like, the reason why I don't like Ethereum is because I hate using it. If I want to do DeFi, anything like that, I always use Solana because it's instant. It happens quickly. Yeah, I know people talk about, oh, but it's not as decentralized. To be honest, I don't really care about it being like super decentralized. Eventually, one day I might. Ethereum's still going to make it. Maybe one day when Ethereum finally fixes its problems, but they're so slow to develop, it might take them too long and eventually they lose out. Like, I think the latest thing that they put up, their timeline, they're going to finally fix, planning on having the problem fixed that they've got at the moment in 2030. It's like, guys, that's 6 years away. The time horizons for getting things to work properly just way too long. Then you've got so much competition coming through. You've got Sui and Aptos, which is a breakaway team from the Libra Facebook team. So they have a much better coding platform, which is called, I think it's called Move. One of my friends, he's developed projects on Ethereum and on Solana, and they have the Pirate Nation game at the moment, which has been really big. And they've developed the proof of play blockchain, which is like incorporating a whole heap of different things, different protocols into one thing. And they have the number 1 and number 2 highest gas chains at the moment on Ethereum. Solana is really quick, but it's difficult to develop on. So eventually they're going to have problems with that because they're not having enough quality projects built on it. It's mainly for meme coin trading and stuff like that. And Ethereum doesn't really work properly because it's really slow and all that sort of stuff. And you got the layer 2s and it's cumbersome and everything like that. But it's easy to develop on. So more developers like to develop on Ethereum versus Solana. But he said in the future, both will end up sorting out their problems, and Solana will become, easier to develop on, and Ethereum will get faster. It's just about the timelines of when those match.
I must say, it's only, we see this every single cycle. Ethereum's killer. Last time it was Cosmos, Polkadot. They did outperform one point. Why is this time different? Why do you think?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be, I don't think they're Ethereum killers. I think they're just stealing massive amounts of market share.
They're stealing the gambling, they're stealing the retail.
And the DeFi stuff. And I think Sui's going to cut into it massively as well, even more. So you're going to have Solana and Sui now really competing for that market share from Ethereum. And you just look at the liquidity flows. It's just non-stop since the start cycle flowing out of Ethereum into Solana, mainly into Sui and all the others. And I think that's just going to continue to happen across the cycle. Ethereum will play catch up, but I think it's going to massively disappoint people how far it moves this cycle, because already at such a high market cap value, like it's already had its major move last cycle. Solana might do the same thing and disappoint because it's too difficult to develop on. It might be super fast, but there's nothing being good built on it. And so then they're going to go through the pain.
All right, let's go targets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Sol, give us 3 targets and total crypto market cap for this cycle.
Yeah, so I think Bitcoin, we were just talking about this before.
$1 billion Bitcoin, here we go.
I think Bitcoin, honestly, could go to $10 trillion market cap, which is $500,000 a coin. And obviously, this is if the strategic reserve.
No strategic reserve doesn't get through the Senate.
I think no strategic reserve, probably like around 250 to, I think like a 280 or something like that is possible. Maybe like 8 to 10K for ETH. I think it's going to disappoint a bit. I mean, obviously, it depends how high Bitcoin goes. But if no strategic reserve, obviously, we're going a lot lower. So no strategic reserve, Bitcoin around 250 to 300.
Oh, a lot lower. It's like a 2.5x.
Yeah. You get the strategic reserve. There's just so much more capital flowing into everything. That's money is going to cycle around through everything else. So everything else will go much higher as well. So, but I think they're going to get it through, and I think everything will come together. I say all the time, like Trump, God didn't make Trump move his head in that exact millisecond to not take out the back of his head.
Well, it's the golden bull run. God himself has taken this. I know Tracy's shaking her head right now, but we're talking to 2 Trump guys. I know you're a Trump guy. Look at you. You're ripped, nice watch. When does the cycle end, Dax?
So this is a really interesting question.
What do your charts say?
My charts say about November or December 2025. And that's, in a bound between 250 to maybe 280K, right? And that is only if they don't get the strategic reserve through. If they do get the strategic reserve through, we could end up matching up, instead of being the 4-year cycles with with the big pullbacks, 85% pullback, etc. We could start to match up with the market cycle from the rest of the economy. We could end up matching up with, the business cycle, which is usually 8 to 14 years. Like if you think about it, 2008 to 2022 was the last cycle that we had in the business cycle of the major stock markets and the economy, right? And so that was the first time you had the opportunity to buy major stocks down 75, 60%. Amazon, Facebook, Tesla, etc. were down 75, 50%, right? So in crypto, we usually get that opportunity every 4 years, but it could shift, and we could now, because we're going through what I believe is the adoption cycle, which will be proven to be true if they do get the strategic reserve passed. This will definitely be the adoption cycle, because if that happens, every country on the planet is going to have to also have a Bitcoin strategic reserve, the same way as every country on the planet has a gold strategic reserve as well.
And that's it for the show, folks. Thanks for coming and diving into this crypto world with us again today. We'll be back again next week with all the news. Until then, stay curious and stay connected. You can do that by joining the Crypto Curious Facebook group or our Instagram page, and be sure to hit the subscribe button where you're listening to the podcast right now. If you're looking to DCA into the crypto market, have a look at the Bamboo app. Don't forget to use the code CURIOUS for $10 of free Bitcoin to get you started. There's a link in the show notes below. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.